What's going on, people, and welcome back to the channel. So I'm just going to do a quick match reaction to the game that finished today. Hibs 1, Celtic 2 in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic cutting Hearts' lead down to 2 points with a 2-1 victory at Easter Road after Hearts dropped points against Motherwell yesterday. Good win for Celtic from the highlights that I've seen. I don't think we started the game particularly well, but we got the win in the end. Easter Road's always been a tough place to go. We don't do well there normally. Martin O'Neill, he thought it was going to be his last game. Turns out it's not going to be. What a surprise. You know, I bet you anything this deal with Wilfred Nancy falls through and we end up with Martin to the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised. It's an absolute joke, the way that the club is treating Martin. So disrespectful. You know, Martin doesn't want to be the Celtic manager put long term. You know, the club, it's not his fault the club are pissing about with the manager situation. They drove the last manager out of the club and now they're fucking about with the next manager. It's ridiculous. It really is. Apparently it's a paperwork issue. Why is Celtic fucking about with paperwork? Just get it done and get the manager in. Absolute joke. You know, protests today need to continue long term until these people are forced out of the club. They're so bloody lazy, these people. Red cards were shoved in the board's face again today at Easter Road. A lot of people took the red cards as well. They're handed out in the crowd. It's an absolute disgrace the way the board treats everyone, even club legends. You know, look at the way they treated Martin. It's disgraceful. You know, Martin has done fantastic since he came in on interim basis, but he doesn't want the job long term. He said that so many times, and yet the board won't fucking sort it out. It's ridiculous with the manager who wants to be there permanently. It's bollocks. It really is. But anyway, moving on to the actual game of football. Thought Hibs started the game better. You know, Martin Boyle had a chance at the back post. Scarachi was caught out. It was really poor. I had no idea what Scarachi was doing, but he did just enough to put off Martin Boyle at the back post. You know, Martin Boyle should have done better, but he put it wide. Luke McCowan had a great chance, got played in. Really good ball from Rio Hatate, who was man of the match. Thought he was excellent in this game. You know, we need to see this more often from Rio. You know, he's not been the same player for a while. I don't think he wants to be here at the club, but, you know, he showed really good quality today. Really good ball through to Luke McCowan. Luke McCowan was unlucky. He tried to go around the goalkeeper, but the goalkeeper's blocked it and Hibs managed to get it away. Celtic, you know, it took them a while to get going, but they did get the first goal, and it was Dies and Maida. Hibs were the architects of their own downfall, though, and they tried to play the ball out from the back. You know, the goalkeeper tried to pass it into the middle of the pitch. It was intercepted by Rio Hatate, who pressurised the Hibs player, won the ball back. An easy finish for Dies and Maida, who's in the 6-yard box, passes it past the goalkeeper, 1-0 to Celtic. Celtic at this point really came into the game. They scored straight away and got a second goal. Really good play by Scarachi down that side with Yang. You know, Yang, great cross into the box. And there was Arnie Engels getting there ahead of Jamie McGrath, who caught him in the face with his boot. You know, I'm really surprised that VAR didn't have a look at that, to be honest. But yeah, really good header from Arnie Engels. Brave as well. Smashes it past the goalkeeper. You know, goalkeeper got a hand to it, but he couldn't keep out and Celtic with 2-0 up. So despite Hibs starting quite well, you know, they conceded 2 goals in a few minutes. And Celtic were really in command of the game at this point. As I said, you know, Celtic nearly then got a third goal. Really good move. Probably the best move of the match. Maida, Yang and Scarachi. Maida then flicked it back into Scarachi's path. You know, Scarachi hits it, smashes it off the post and out of play. That was really unlucky. Hibs got away with one there. But at half-time, it was Hibs 0, Celtic 2. Celtic took time to get into the game, but once they got the first goal, they definitely took command of the game. The second half wasn't an attacking display by Celtic. It was very good defensive play and hitting on the break as well. Hibs, you know, to their credit, they did come back into it in the second half. Got a penalty, which was harsh on Liam Scales, but it was a penalty by the rules of the game. You know, the ball comes in from across into the box. You know, Liam Scales headers the ball, but it also hits him on the hand, which is outstretched towards the ball. It's harsh because it's down at his side. It is an accident, but it's a penalty, you know, by the rules of the game. I personally think it wasn't a penalty, but VAR was always going to give it, unfortunately, and we can't really complain the amount of penalties we've been given for a similar, you know, this season. You know, it's really, really disappointing, but it was never a penalty in my opinion, but I understand why the referee gave it, and VAR was always going to give it. He went to the screen, came back and said, yeah, it's a penalty. Scales was booked. I thought was really harsh. Don't think Scales knew much about it, but Hibs got the penalty. Martin Boyle stepped up, and passed it into the net, past Kasper Schmeichel. Hibs were back in the game 2-1. Hibs definitely built momentum after this. You know, Maida had a chance on the break, you know, but Bashiri got back ahead of that out of play. Kasper Schmeichel kept Celtic in the lead, and Celtic would go on to win the game as well. You know, 2 excellent saves. First was from Chris Cabban. Really good play from Kieran Bowie. Kieran Bowie rolled it across, and there was Chris Cabban at the back post, and he hit it. Really good save by Kasper Schmeichel to keep it out. Then there was another save from Schmeichel, even better. It was going down into the corner from a set piece. Headed towards goal. Schmeichel kept it out and parried it away. And that was it. Celtic won the game 2-1. They closed the gap on Hearts, who dropped points against Motherwell yesterday. Celtic have Dundee on Wednesday night, which Martin O'Neill will be in charge of. You know, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Martin's the manager at the end of the season. I really wouldn't be in this Nick Wilfred Nancy thing. Doesn't happen. I really wouldn't be. I have doubts now it's going to happen, to be honest. But yeah, Martin O'Neill got another win. You know, he's only lost 1 game, and that was against Midtjylland. We haven't lost a game domestically yet under Martin. He's been fantastic since he came in. Dundee on Wednesday night. Dundee, obviously, the last time we played them, we lost to them. And that was under Brendan Rodgers. You know, it's a very poor performance that day. You know, we were easily defeated by Dundee. We didn't deserve anything from that game. Obviously, it's at Celtic Park. You know, it's going to be hard. You know, the pitch is going to be bigger. Hopefully, we go into that game and show the same determination we have done recently. You know, we've won a few games now in a row domestically, which we were struggling to do under Brendan. But yeah, man of the match was Rio Hatate. Thought he was excellent. Want to see it more often, to be honest. You know, Trusty was good again. Trusty dealt with most of the things that Hibs threw at us. You know, we were really good. Scales as well was excellent, apart from the penalty. You know, I'm not a fan of Scales, but he has been playing really well recently, particularly when defending our box. He's good at doing that. But yeah, Celtic got the win. On to Wednesday night now against Dundee. I'll do a reaction to that game and give my thoughts on that once I've seen the highlights and stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.